Hi, let me check the sound first. Yep, let me check it. All right, there we go. Hi, I'm Avi certified raw food educator and holistic health coach, helping women get rid of their stress and drop the pounds without sacrificing their food favorites and authenticity. Today's video is about how to set boundaries, and I did a video about boundaries before, but there's a lot of people who have been, commenting and asking me specifically about how to set boundaries. And I want to compare this to war. So imagine going out for war and you have no armor on whatsoever. You're just free to be attacked, you're free for whatever. And this is what happens when your boundaries aren't set. You have no clear knowing of what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. Drop a comment below if you've ever said yes to something that you should have said no to and you ended up feeling drained because of it. Okay? So really wanted to do this video because of that, because it's so important. What you continuously say yes to and say yes to that your body is clearly telling you to say no to ends up with draining your energy. An energy drain is the reason why so many people are exhausted and tired and bored and borderline depression. Borderline depression is because you're saying yes to things that you fucking hate. And that's what happens when there's no boundaries set at all. So stay with me during this video because I'm going to show you and share my personal experience with strategies as to how I started to set boundaries. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm a very hypersensitive person. There's a lot of people that, throw around empath and intuitive and all these words. And I've been this way for a very long time. I've always been sensitive, not like, oh, I'm going to cry about everything, but I've always been sensitive to people's energies. And for the longest time, I mean, as a child, that was a lot to process, but I've always been sensitive to people's energies. I've always felt, good vibes and bad vibes. Did I listen all the time? No, but I've always had that sort of knowing. And what you can jot down and drop a comment below if at any time you want my blueprint on taking actionable steps to getting you to developing those boundaries, because boundaries, that's the beginning of self-love. That's telling yourself that, oh, I'm empowered enough to know that I deserve to have my boundaries set and I deserve to honor myself. So going back, like I said, I was sensitive to different energies. And this is what caused me to make certain decisions. But there's a lot of people in this world who don't have the same type of knowing. And I actually help you transform that so you can begin to know. What I say the first step to doing that is recognize how you feel around certain people. Does your energy go up or does it go down? And write it down. Don't underestimate the power of writing things down. Always document how you're feeling, whether that's I write stuff down, but even your body will remember how you feel around certain people. I remember when I was taking the bus and I was like, as an empath, the bus is just not for you because you're dealing with so many energies. I remember actually getting off the bus and feeling completely drained and angry. It made me angry. Why? Because I didn't want to go, but I thought I had to take it. And it was because I was saying yes to something that I hated that I became completely drained. So what happened was, I was exposed to various, personalities and people. And I was like, oh, my energy is just like low. So start documenting how you feel around certain people. This is why I also have people document their meals, because how do you feel after you eat that? Is your body saying yes to that or no to that? And that's another thing, creating boundaries with other people and with yourself. So just sit here and imagine, have you ever been, what was I going to say? Have you ever felt as though, I'm losing my train of thought just a little bit, just a little bit. For those of you who don't know me, I am still recovering. So from time to time, from a long span of health illnesses, I've been sick from a child. So if I forget my train of thought sometimes, that's because my body is still recovering, as well as neurologically. So whatever, I'm just going to continue and keep moving on. But imagine yourself, like I said, not having those specific boundaries set in place, how you feel. I was there from it for a little while. I was like, why am I attracting? That's what I was going to say. Why am I attracting? Most of my smoothie is gone and it matches my lip gloss. Why am I attracting certain kinds of people, whether that was relationships or friendships or anything like that? And what I started doing was recognizing a pattern. I was like, oh, these people are energy vampires. And I kept attracting energy vampires into my life. It was like one after the other after the other. And I kept saying to myself, I'm a good person. I give. Why am I attracting energy vampires? And the reason why I kept attracting people who are energy vampires is because I gave. I gave thinking they were the same way. And because I had in my mind that they seemed friendly, they seemed kind, they seemed this way. And because I was a certain way, because I was loyal, because I was honest, that I was going to reap that in return. So I was kind of blinded a little bit. And I was like, oh, they've been energy vampires this whole time. I was attracting people who treated me as if I was at arm's length. I said, why do I keep attracting people who treat me like this? You know? And I now what I do is I'm like, I take that quote from Napoleon. I'm like, break the wrist and walk the fuck away from these people who keep you at an arm's length. You don't deserve that. Like, what? I'm not good enough to like be in your whatever circle or of people. Like, no, I don't do that anymore. So I started to document why I was attracting these people. And as I always say, this outside world is a reflection of what's happening internally. It's an absolute reflection of how you're feeling about yourself. Okay? It's not the blame game where it's your fault. It's just that everything is a reflection. It's an illusion of what's happening internally. So what's happening internally with me is I was used to that feeling of rejection. I was rejected as a child, you know, from my father, from various relatives, from teachers, from students, from the school I was at. So I was used to attracting energy vampires until I put you, because you have that same power to put a stop to that shit and say, you know what? I don't deserve to be rejected. I don't deserve to be drained by people. My kindness shouldn't be taken for weakness. So what I started doing was actually eliminating these people. I have no trouble. Don't think I'm like a pushover. I have no trouble just cutting people off. Why? Because that makes me feel better. That's self-love. If it's not serving you, it's serving them because they're just taking from you. You have to set your boundaries. What I started doing was eliminating how much I speak to these people, you know, not going to functions, changing my number or blocking their number, not speaking to them. Just stop it all together. And sometimes I did have to have these critical conversations where I'm like, you know, I treat you like this, but you treat me like this. You know, sometimes those are difficult. If you can't actually have a critical conversation, type to this person, send them a letter, or just stop talking to them altogether and see if they reach out to you. If they don't, then guess what? You made the right choice. Setting those boundaries are specific. In my health coaching, I set boundaries with people. They want a health coach with me, they apply to work with me, so I know where their goals are. If their goals are not fitting in with my program, I kindly say that this person will probably be a better fit for you. If you're not willing to put in the work, then I'm probably not the one for you, because I'm not going to hold your hand and do the work for you. I give you the tools. We work together to help transform your whole entire life. I don't work with people who just want to talk about losing weight, who just want to talk about their anxiety. I work with people who are like, I'm fucking tired of being overweight. I'm tired of being anxious. And then we work from there. So it's the same thing. Same with my nutrition. Same with nutrition. I put boundaries in place. I said, I'm not eating after, I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock. Why? Because I know the food is going to sit on me, because the body stops digesting, or it doesn't digest. Excuse me, something's on this computer. The body stops digesting after a certain time. I'm not saying it stops digesting at 5 or 6. I'm just saying that's my boundary. That's what works for me. And I have to honor that. If my body is saying, listen, we don't want you to eat anything after 8 or after 9, I listen to it. I set that specific boundary. You see how if boundaries are set, it doesn't mean like it's blocking you from living your best life. It's supporting you. It's supporting your self-love. You're setting those in place. You know, have you ever seen people who just keep attracting or keep getting involved in certain toxic situations? They keep doing that because their boundaries are not set. I did that too. I kept attracting illness after illness after illness until I'm like, there's something that you're doing or that your body doesn't like, and we have to tweak that. So that's why boundaries are super, super duper important. Now, for those of you who are like, I'm going to lose a friendship if I say no to whoever, if I say no to this function, or if I say no, if I say no, if I say no, they weren't your friends anyway. Once you cultivate, and this takes time. This takes time, especially if you're one of those very sweet people who doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. It takes time. It takes your own journey to self-love, maybe you setting your boundaries first as to what you're going to do to honor your body and put that into place, okay? And then if you think people are going to get mad because you said no, like I said, they weren't your friends to begin with. So let's play this scenario out. So if someone invites you to a party and you're very tired, to you, you may think, oh, I'm just tired, I can still go. Me, if that was me, this is the way I would handle it. I would say, you know, I'm very drained. My body needs to rest. I can't go today. If someone gets mad at you for saying no, because I know there are some people who say that people do, if they weren't your friend to begin with, you have to honor your self-love. You can't say yes to everything and keep saying no to yourself, because your body, like I said, your organs are alive. You're made up of cells. You're alive, okay? And your body is, if your body is telling you to stay home or to not go to certain places, and you keep rejecting and neglecting it, it's going to reflect in your physical health. So how can you start implementing this today? Start by honoring your own body. For instance, if you don't want to keep working or finishing that project all in one day, space it out and say, you know what, I'm going to give myself, and your body's like, maybe you have to finish a product by 10 p.m. Okay. But your body is like, you know, I need to rest. I'm tired. Honor your body. Honor your body, because if you keep pushing yourself, you're going to break it down. It's not going to be of any use. Like I said, make those micro lists. Work at one thing at a time. Don't put all of I'm actually going to make a separate video on organization, so I'm not even going to, you know, touch on that specifically. But just, there's noise outside. It's distracting. For those of you who don't know, I just moved back not too long ago, about a month ago from Ohio. I'm back here. I've called everywhere. No one's really getting back. And there's like a lockdown in certain areas. So I'm stuck in this loud ass area and it drives me up a wall. So I'm setting my boundaries because I'm trying to get the fuck out of here. Because it's just aggravating, all the noise. I can't take it. I love loud music when I'm listening to music. When I'm recording, I don't want to hear anybody speak. No one. It's annoying as fuck. And that's a perfect example. Let your boundaries be known. Let it be known, you know? So I hope this is helpful. Me sharing my experience with you. Hopefully it will help you set boundaries. Start writing down what your boundaries are. Start implementing them in your nutrition. Maybe you like to eat string cheese at 4 o'clock, but your body, maybe you get diarrhea after you eat it. Cut out the string cheese. Maybe you have that friend that always wants you to go to places and you hate that place, but you just want to keep that friend. Challenge. Make it a challenge and see if that friend stays, and say no to that friend because you just don't want to go. Not wanting to go, that's self-love. You don't want to go. It has nothing to do with that person. Just verbalize it and say, hey, I don't really like the vibe of that place. I don't want to go. Okay. Number 3, my third tip in setting your boundaries is 1 and 2. 1 and 2, knowing what they are, sticking with them, implementing them every single day. Drop a comment below if you want more actionable steps from that blueprint. And as always, I'm going to be my authentic self. All the people that I work with, they're their authentic selves. And I hope you continue to be your authentic self. And like I said, I hope this video was helpful. Drop a comment below for that blueprint and or any questions or comments you may have, and I will talk to you tomorrow.